Full-time travel is amazing, but it's not always easy. And social media really only tells you one part of the story. It doesn't really talk about the deep fears that you sometimes will feel, or the curveballs that life throws at you, or even just the friction that comes up when you're no longer in vacation mode. But we've learned that how you respond in these moments can change everything.
In this episode, we're sharing 8 areas where this lifestyle really tests you, and the one mindset shift that's helped us turn these challenges into something much more meaningful.
I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
Full-time travel can look really different for everyone, and that's the beauty of it. You get to design it your own way. If you're thinking about this lifestyle and you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure, you're not alone. It's a big shift, but it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
The question we come back to again and again is, are we trying to avoid discomfort, or are we willing to trade a little uncertainty for the chance to have incredible experiences?
That question has shaped everything for us.
Let's talk about the one simple shift. Stop seeing problems as obstacles. See them as opportunities. When you shift from resistance to curiosity and from fear to flexibility, the experience changes. It's not about ignoring the hard parts. It's about choosing your lens, because the way you travel is important, but the way you think while you travel is everything. We've always believed that our problems would travel with us. And we've joked many times about if we're going to be bringing our problems along with us, we might as well sort them out over a cappuccino in Verona overlooking a great view.
We didn't start out with this mindset or philosophy. It just kind of grew on us. Somewhere along the way, we started meeting frustrations with curiosity, and that really helped everything.
And no, we don't always do this perfectly, but when we do lean into looking through this lens, everything is a little bit easier to manage and a little bit of a lighter lift. Let's dive into the first one.
We didn't expect how much the pace of travel would affect how we feel. Burnout is one word for it. Overwhelm, fatigue, restlessness, it shows up in different ways. And if you're not watching out for it, it can really take the shine off your experience.
So let's do a comparison. If we're talking about burnout, here's one way to look at it. I'm too tired to enjoy this. But if we just have a little bit of a mindset shift, it becomes you don't have to earn this lifestyle. And by that we mean that just because you're a full-time traveler doesn't mean that you have to be going every single minute of the day just to validate the fact that you're a traveler.
Back in 2023, I hit a wall. We were traveling too fast, moving to too many different places, seeing too many different things. It just was overwhelming, and it took a lot out of me. We changed. We adjusted. We shifted the way we were doing things. We slowed down a bit. We decided what was important, what was not important, and really focused on our quality of life.
Now that things are a little bit easier for us and we've gotten more routines under our belt, we've been able to pick up the pace a little bit more. But the thing is, you don't need anyone's permission to change your pace of travel. And it can be modified and adjusted on the fly. There's no perfect way or speed in which you need to be traveling.
This is your travel style. You get to set it up. You get to control the whole thing.
I especially used to feel very guilty because I didn't feel like we were seeing everything we needed to see. But then I realized that, heck, we lived in our hometowns for years and years, and we did not see everything with that much time under our belts. And as full-time travelers, we can always come back if there's something we really want to see again.
We're not trying to squeeze everything into one vacation. This is our life, and we're retired. We want to enjoy everything without feeling guilty about missing anything.
And that's a key mindset. You don't have to earn this lifestyle by exhausting yourself. After a whirlwind trip through Latin America and then 2 very hectic weeks in the US for our annual visit to see family, we knew we were going to need to slow down. That's why we spent 32 days here in Malta. And for the next 3 months, we're going to be in one place each month. It's going to give us some much needed downtime. We know that we're going to be picking up the pace later in the year, but for now, we're just trying to slow things down. We also try to avoid exhausting travel days as much as possible.
And we don't like flights that are 2 stops. And if we do have to have any of those, like we did recently, we stayed overnight in Barcelona, that worked out fine. We also don't like tight connections because those can really stress us out. If there's an hour between flights, we try not to book those because what if one flight is just a little late?
I personally actually really like travel days, but even I don't want to get burned out from them. And for a lot of people, packing and unpacking can get old really quickly. That's why I don't even unpack at all. I just use my packing cubes as drawers and I live out of them. When I take something out, I put it back.
Yeah, and I do unpack sometimes if I have shirts or things that I want to hang up. But really, I use my packing cubes as drawers also, and my suitcase as my cabinet.
We have a free checklist on our website that helps travel days go a lot more smoothly. Go check it out.
Let's talk for a minute about food fatigue. Yes, it's a privilege, but it's real. We try to eat only 2 meals a day, and we try to simplify the morning time with a breakfast or coffee at the same place every day.
And that leaves only one meal to have to sort out then for a day, and that's a lot easier than doing 2 or 3. And sometimes just eating pizza or burgers is the best selection for us because it's mindless and it's easy. And don't knock it till you try it because some of the best pizza we've ever eaten has been in Chiang Mai, Thailand. But don't come for us.
We do love trying new foods, and we like to try the local foods. Some of our best memories revolve around foods in the country.
But when we need a comfort meal, we don't feel guilty about getting one.
Are there moments when travel is frustrating? Sure. A bad shower can really ruin your day. A dull knife in the kitchen can make preparing food really frustrating. There are things that are just really aggravating. But does that mean we want to give it all up and just head back to the U.S.?
Nope.
No, not at all.
Not even a little bit. When you're always moving, it's easy to feel like you've lost your sense of home. Let's take a look at the thought, I miss my favorite mug, and view it from the new lens of home as a feeling, not a place.
One of the most common things people tell us is, I could never do that. I'd miss having a home.
And honestly, we get it. We really loved our home in San Francisco. But we didn't want to give up this dream of traveling just because our stuff had a lot of memories tied to it.
We wanted the chance to make new memories and experience the world more than we wanted to dwell on what we'd done or accumulated in the past. That doesn't mean it's always easy. Some places feel like a stretch. They're a little too chilly, a little too cramped, a little too dark, or just uncomfortable for us. But I like to say, home is wherever we happen to be.
And I completely agree. We see home as a place of emotional stability. So despite cutting back our luggage to 10 kilograms apiece, we do keep 2 luxury items. One is a wool blanket so that we can cuddle up on the couch and watch TV. And that's why we bring our Apple TV as well, because we can watch our favorite shows and kind of feel some continuity from home. They're little things, but they help us feel grounded. And sure, I still miss my kitchen tools because cooking on the road is more complicated than it used to be. But I think about what I'm trading it for, like homemade pasta in Italy, street food in Thailand, tagine in Morocco. It feels worth it.
And sometimes it's not about where you are, but how connected you feel when you're there. We dealt with this when we first arrived in Thailand. Let's talk about loneliness. Take the idea that I feel like I don't belong anywhere. Let's view it instead from the lens of connection takes courage. Loneliness is different from missing the people you love. It's deeper than that. It's that quiet feeling that you just don't feel like you belong. We felt that when we're in a place where we don't speak the language or we just don't know anyone there. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. Connection doesn't always show up. You have to reach out for it. And when we've done that, we've been surprised by the warmth we found.
Like the time we were in Chiang Mai and the owner of Mama Sandwich Shop gave me a little candle as a gift for Valentine's Day. Or the tour guide in Vietnam who sent us baby pictures when his first child was born. These are small moments, but they help to remind us that we're not invisible, we're just new.
Sometimes that's all it takes. Texting a friend you haven't connected with for a while, or chatting with the person that's next to you in line.
We just started a meetup thread on our free La Familia forum where people are connecting with fellow travelers when their schedules align. Here's a link to sign up if you're interested.
Loneliness can give us an opportunity to broaden our circle of friends. Or it can give us an opportunity to take a walk and just reflect on the things that are around us.
Some of our best insights and self-improvement ideas have come from taking those quiet, reflective walks.
Of course, one of the biggest emotional challenges isn't internal at all. It's missing friends and family back home. Let's tilt the way we look at missing family and friends.
So something like, I feel far from the people I love, could have the mindset shift of love doesn't rely on geography. We try to have a sense of gratitude because missing people also means that you are living a life full of love. We try to be grateful that we have so many special people in our lives.
We have 3 children in their 30s, but they live in different cities. And our family is spread out all over the country. And at this point, we don't have grandchildren yet. We just found out that my sister had a disturbing cancer diagnosis, and I can personally attest that it's really hard to be far away when something like that happens.
But even when we lived in the US, we didn't live in the same city, so it would still be a flight to get to see her. And the reality is that we could only stay a couple of days at a time before getting in the way.
Fortunately, we just spent time there and quality time with my sister, and we're scheduling additional time in the near future to go back and visit them. But we're also thinking of creative ways to reach out and help out. One good thing about the times we're living in is the technology is fantastic, and we can reach out a lot easier, FaceTiming, talking with people, and also sending them things when they need something.
Even before we retired and started traveling, we didn't always stay in the best communication with everyone that we love. So we try not to put unrealistic expectations on ourselves now and thinking that we're just going to do it perfectly. I do try to send postcards and greeting cards, birthday cards periodically, just as another way of staying in touch. Especially people don't get a lot of snail mail, so I feel like that is really something special and nice that I can do.
We're pretty busy and there's a lot of things we want to see and do, so we try not to be tied to the phone all the time. And sometimes we're lucky enough to have family visit us, like our daughter who just met with us in Malta, and we spent a few days just making some really fantastic memories. Now, we did just see her a month ago in the US, but there's something special about being in a foreign country and experiencing new things together. Now, as we talked about in the past, we do our once-a-year trip back to the US. We know it's easier to say goodbye to family and friends because we already have our next trip planned back to see them.
And Kevin will sometimes schedule a movie night with one of our sons because they both bond over Marvel movies. And he does that just by using SharePlay on Apple, which allows you to watch the show at the same time together. And it has a chat feature that allows you to kind of talk about the movie as you're watching it. We're typically only in the US once a year and for a very short period of time. But as we're adjusting our budget to accommodate another visit home to see Kevin's sister, you could certainly do that if your circumstances warrant it, or if there's some special event you want to be there for, or even a traditional time that you normally spend together and you want to be there for that.
This is one of those challenges that can be bridged with some creativity. If you've ever been away from home for a longer period of time, we'd love to hear about your experience. How did you stay in contact with your friends and relatives? Let us know in the comments.
Even once you've found your rhythm emotionally, the day-to-day practical stuff can wear you down. So let's talk about the loss of routine and the lack of structure. Without a routine, everything's harder. Let's give this a mindset shift and remind ourselves that simple habits create stability. Without a routine, every little task becomes a decision. Where do I store my charger? What side of the bed do I sleep on? How does the shower work?
None of these are big problems, but it's a lot of decisions to make in every new place that you're in.
And then there are the real challenges, like where to find a dentist. And if you have any kind of health problems, even minor ones, establishing a relationship with a new doctor, even dealing with getting my hair cut and colored from place to place can be confusing and hard. There's an article about this on our website because it's been that tricky to sort out. It's linked in the description. This is something that no one talks about. But we've found that when we give ourselves a few anchors, it makes settling in a lot easier.
The unfamiliar doesn't feel so overwhelming when you've got a few simple habits to come home to, even if home keeps changing. One of the things we do in a new place is we find a coffee shop that we can go to every morning. It's a simple routine that takes one of those decisions off our day.
So for instance, my toiletry bag always goes in the same spot and it has 2 pockets on it. And the one pocket I always put my toothbrush in and the other pocket has my hairbrush. I don't have to look around the apartment for where I might have left it. After I'm done brushing my hair, it always goes in the same spot. I don't have to worry about losing things.
And that goes for luggage too. We try to keep our luggage in the same spot. We put our stuff back in the same spot in the luggage. Everything keeps going in the same place so we don't have to think about it.
And we always put something back after we use it so we don't have to look around to see where we might have dropped it.
And consistency applies to how we plan our week. We designate certain days for sightseeing and tours. We make sure that we have our video production going in certain days of the week so we can always ship a video on Saturday. Having a rhythm just makes it easier to schedule things. We also try to treat grocery stores as an adventure. We may not find our favorite foods and the shelves might look a bit different, but there are a lot of interesting and unique foods that we can find.
Does this system work perfectly? Nope. Finding doctors is still probably going to be a hassle. But if you create a method for finding them, it can make things a little bit easier.
At the same time, we've really come to value not being so set in our ways.
I enjoy the fact that when we are taking long walks, they're not by the same streets and the same neighborhoods that we've gone by thousands of times before. We enjoy having to adjust, try new things, and staying open. That sense of discovery is one of the best things about this lifestyle.
And then there's the mental load. Planning where to go, how to get there, what to see. It can all be a lot to take. And I'm supposed to be retired at this point.
This is a big one. It's easy to think to yourself, planning feels like a full-time job. Give yourself permission to shift it to, it's okay not to know yet. Maybe it's because of our backgrounds. Kevin was an engineer and I was an executive assistant, but we like to plan things. And yes, a lot of our travel is planned out more than a year in advance. But even we get burned out. So there are times that we know where we're going and when we'll be there, but we have nothing planned once we arrive. We'll figure that out when we get there. And that's actually one of the reasons we like to slow travel. It gives us a little bit of extra time on the ground to figure things out.
We know travelers will only do their planning on the weekends to avoid that weekday burnout. Others use bulk planning and knock it out in chunks. They get it all done at one time, and that's what we do.
And then we don't have to worry about it.
But being spontaneous has its perks. You can jump on last-minute deals, say yes to a surprise invitation, or show up for a parade or festival that you didn't know was going to happen, like we saw in Busan or San Miguel.
And it's okay to miss something if you didn't plan for it in advance. You can always come back if it's something that you really want to do. It's one of the best perks of being a full-time traveler. You can literally go on Skyscanner, find the cheapest place to fly next, and make that your plan. Or hop on a bus to the next town. It doesn't have to be complicated. You just need to be flexible.
And if you're traveling with someone, split the planning. Judy books all the accommodations, I book most of the flights and other transportation, and it works out well for us. You don't have to have it all on your shoulders.
And while Kevin the engineer likes to optimize everything, shortest flight, fastest transfer, lowest price, we realized that wasn't sustainable. Now we look for easiest, smoothest, and least stressful. Because travel days are part of the experience too, not just the time in between.
Money fears are real, and probably the most common reason people hesitate to leap into this lifestyle.
This is even more of a concern if you're newly retired and not getting a steady paycheck is still a new feeling. So let's take the idea of what if we can't afford this and view it from the lens where we replace fear with a plan. We think fear thrives in vagueness. Running out of money is scary, but when you have a plan, it's much more manageable, especially when you trade fear for facts.
Remember, you have a ton of control of how you live this lifestyle and how you spend your money. There are easy tweaks like staying longer in a place, eating out less frequently, and eating where locals do, staying in more budget-friendly destinations, and focusing on free activities.
When everything is new to you, even something as basic as looking around at the various colored doors or the unique door knockers can be interesting. We also like to look at the architecture in the areas that we're in, and that costs us nothing.
There's a lot you can miss when you're running from one local excursion to another or one famous point of interest to another. You can see some of those, but you don't need to see all of them.
And by getting creative, you can make a game out of it. You only have to feel deprived if you choose to look at it that way. But why, when you can shift your mindset and celebrate all the cool things you are getting to see?
It's not about having endless funds. It's about learning to manage what you have. Budget travel can open up deeper experiences. Each decision becomes intentional. But then you can also take very specific actions, like making a budget and organizing your spending plan. Give yourself a buffer and make sure it's flexible enough so you get to do the must-see items. And you can also consider earning money while traveling. Remote work is everywhere. We consider our retirement in phases. Like we started a YouTube channel after we retired. It's pretty easy these days. All you need is a phone and internet access.
And even if you're not a budget traveler, you still may have a budget like we do. We know a lot of people who do house sitting to stretch their money, especially if they want to do more expensive excursions. We deliberately don't have a home base so that we don't have a place that we have to take care of and that costs us money each month. This way we can put all of our money into full-time travel. And at some point when we're unable to travel, we aren't planning to live back in the US, which helps us because living in a lower cost country like Italy will help our dollars go even farther.
And when you're working on your budget, make sure you set aside money for an emergency fund. Maybe it's a medical situation or some other emergency, but you want to make sure that you're not financially devastated if something happens. And it's good advice that everyone gives to talk to a financial planner. Having a professional help you can give you peace of mind to understand just how much money you'll need to retire. We have a video you can watch about how you can think differently and retire early. It's not a big get-rich-quick scheme, but it's all about adjusting the lens that you look through life with. When you see money as a tool instead of a limit, you get creative, not anxious.
And finally, the big what if. What if you get sick? Or what if something serious happens and you're very far from home?
Healthcare worries while abroad. It's easy to think, what if I get sick and I'm far from home? But a better lens to view this from is, healthcare doesn't stop at the border.
So much of this lifestyle is about learning to live with uncertainty. But this one, it requires a little bit of prep. That's going to give you the confidence to go through this journey without living with fear in your pocket. And let's be really blunt. Worrying is not preparation.
When we started this lifestyle, one of the biggest concerns of our family was, what happens when you're on the road if you get sick? And the truth is, excellent healthcare exists all over the world. We had wonderful full medical checkups in Thailand, and I had hernia surgery in Serbia. Both experiences were positive, professional, and affordable. The reality, medical care is often much less expensive or free in many other countries in the world. And while we hope to never need it, we carry global health insurance to cover us in those extreme situations.
There's always going to be what ifs in life, but worrying doesn't prevent them. It just robs you of today.
Our mindset shift, we choose to trust the medical systems that are available to us and prepare for them. We carry digital medical records and our shots are all up to date, and we make sure we know the emergency numbers for the local area. And if you do any online searches for it, you'll see that medical tourism is a big thing.
In fact, people even plan travel outside of the US to get certain medical procedures done. It's easy to imagine worst case scenarios, but fear comes from not knowing. And when you know what to do, fear shrinks.
So out of all these fears, we're curious. What would be the hardest part of long-term travel for you? And if you want to share how you would handle it, we'd love to hear that too.
If this video helped you feel a little bit more confident or curious about full-time travel, we would love to hear that in the comments. And if you haven't already subscribed, we would love for you to do that so we can share more of our journey with you. Until next time.
Until next time.